All right. So this episode, I guess at least let's start with Tyler. You're running a 100-mile race in a week and a half,
No, 2 days, 3 days, Saturday.
in 2 days, 3 days. Okay. Saturday.
Today's the 17th, so on the 20th.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Tell us
you
about,
want?
do you want to start with the last one and then go
Yeah, I
into this
could
one?
I could start there. Start with the adventure of the last one. It was about a month ago. It was the New Jersey Devil 100. Um, the I think like 200 people had signed up. Only 80 or so ended up finishing. It was a trail run through the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. It's 50 miles out and back. Relatively flat course. Um, and my goal was to try to run in less than 24 hours, and I ended up doing it in 22 and a half. I made a wrong turn at one point, which added 7 miles, so I ended up running 107 miles. I think I was in third or fourth place at the time, and I finished in 11th, so I probably could have done a little bit better. So
They
the
don't
goal,
like mark the course.
no, they do. It just so I wasn't the only one who made a wrong turn. The guy who was in second also did. We were like, it came to this one point where you're crossing a dirt road, and the
Yeah.
whole way you're following these pink, like wooden blazes or whatever they are, nailed to trees.
Okay.
Um, and at turns, they put these little pink flags in the road or at the turns to like kind of guide you in the direction you're
Hmm.
supposed to turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're crossing over this road, and across the road, there's more pink blazes in the trees. So I saw those, and I just kept going. But
Okay.
there was supposedly pink flags off to the side if you looked a little further. So after him and I made the wrong turn, somebody I think saw me go through and then came and put like trees in front of that path because it was the wrong way and then fixed the flags. Some other dude after that came back and still jumped over the trees and went that way. So it was, people were making wrong turns. But yeah, so it was the first one I finished, which was good. Uh, and I did it faster than I wanted to. So the goal for this next one is to try to complete it in less than 20 hours. It's pretty flat. It's the Keys 100. Um, I learned a lot in the last one. It was I tried to let's see the first 50 miles. My goal was to do it in about 8 hours, and that's I think I did about eight and a half. And then I wanted to be at mile 75 by 13:30, which is right about where I was. And then the last 25 or 32 in my case during that race, I was hoping to do just survive. It started pouring rain. I didn't have a raincoat. Got pretty miserable. Every aid station I was asking for a trash bag to wear, and I think I struck out at like four aid stations in a row, and then finally with like 20 miles. For like 5 miles it poured rain. It stopped, uh, and then I switched shirts to dry clothes, and then I finally got a trash bag, and it started pouring again. It was like 11 p.m. walking on a trail in the middle of the woods in this creek, which used to be a trail. It was just absolutely miserable. It was an interesting experience. Walking so I think I finished at like 4:45 a.m. So walked through the woods all night. I think at like 10 o'clock, I was so tired that I was considering laying down on the trail and taking a nap in the pouring rain in this like swamp area because I was just exhausted. But I texted my friend Pat at the time, and he said call me. So that was like mile 80. So I talked to him for a
Was I
little bit.
not, was I not answering or something?
No, I just wouldn't have texted you.
It's awkward.
Yeah.
That's awkward.
Yeah.
uh,
Yikes.
Pat stayed up all night and it was texting me like as I finished and everything too.
Oh, what a good friend.
He basically
What?
mentally ran the 100 miles. That's what he says.
Just a
Um,
friend with like no job, nothing better to do, but
no, that's not it. He is just been a big supporter of these races for me.
yeah, no, I
Um,
haven't either. So
um,
haven't so.
You doing
but
okay down there?
is he crying?
I think so.
But so he talked to me for 15 minutes. I got through that like low point. It was like a weird like mental low, like almost depressed point too. It was really interesting. Like I just super exhausted. But after I get through that, it was fine. Um, and then yeah, finished. I poured for like the last 4 hours. I slept in my car for an hour and drove to the Jersey City half marathon in the chair of my parents and my sister and my wife and some friends.
You didn't run the Jersey City
I thought
Marathon?
you were
Honestly,
gonna say that.
honestly, I was signed up.
Like,
I thought I had signed up for it and I was planning on it. There's no way I could have. But I think my subconsciously I knew I wasn't going to be in any condition to run, so I didn't but I for like up until like the week of the race, I thought I was running a marathon after, but I guess I just never signed up. So this one hopefully is a lot easier. I'm not going to be running 107 miles. There's no wrong turns because it's all on the road. I'll have a crew for this one. My parents and my wife will be down there. And the last one, I just had like drop bags at aid stations. So that'll be good for emotional support.
Let me ask you this, man. Like, all right, so you've ran 107 miles. Okay, now you're gonna do this one in the Keys. Like, is there a point that you get to where you're just like, yeah, I think I'm an accomplished runner. I'm just kind of done running,
Nah,
this
I mean,
much.
I signed up for a 200 in February.
There is something beyond a 100.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do you just are you just like chasing the high? Is that what it is? Like is that when you're feeling your best is when you're running these things, or like
No, honestly, I feel like
No, when he's talking about, I guess.
what do you say?
It's like, no, when he's talking to Pat, I guess.
No, I think the training is the best part. I don't even know if I like the races that much.
How's the race different than the training though? Because you're running a lot either way.
Yeah, the training is like it's months of work, right? For this
Okay.
one day. So like to get to that point, I think I did 1,300-mile weeks in a row. I did 60, 67, 70-mile training runs. I think I'm already at like 16 or 1,700 miles this year.
Wait, you said you did a 1,300-mile week?
no,
No,
13 100
13
mile
100-mile weeks
Oh,
in a
okay.
row. And then I did a week where I did a marathon every day. So like I enjoyed the training. Not enjoyed it. It was a challenge to get all the training accomplished in it. When you finally get to the race, it's kind of like, okay, what's next? I don't know. That's kind of how I felt. So for me, like the training for this 200 is going to be the fun part. And then I don't know what the fuck I do next. There's a lot of races out west that are in the mountains, so they're more of like hiking, and they're a lot more challenging than because like the New Jersey
altitude.
Yeah, the altitude and the elevation gain and loss.
Yeah.
So these are all have all been flat or relatively flat. So I think that's probably next.
How do people train for that if you're not like, for example, when I moved to Colorado, I think I said it was in Santa Monica right before that, so I was literally at sea level. And I guess New York City is also sea level, but like going from that to Colorado, even just being a normal like civilian citizen walking around, you could feel a huge difference.
Yeah,
Right. There's like
honestly,
a point to acclimate. How do you go from how do you do that? Like, how do people who don't live in Colorado or Montana or some state where there's, you're like way above sea level Utah, how do people at like sea level go to that?
I've looked into it a little bit. I honestly don't know. I
can answer that if you need it.
Yeah,
So this was what I did for research on with we won't dive into it so much, but
To a hyperbolic chamber.
Not even a word. Hyperbolic is that's giant exaggeration hyperbolic. You want a hyperbaric?
Wasn't that in Dragon Ball Z?
Hyperbaric chamber or a hypobaric?
A lot of people on the internet say
hyperbolic.
Oh, no. There was something in Dragon Ball Z called the hyperbolic time chamber. Okay, I'm not an idiot.
Wow. So anyway, really what's happening is when you go up there, essentially the oxygen in your blood is less than it would be at baseline. So at baseline, I could spit out a number. I would be definitely wrong. I don't know it off the top of my mind, but you have a certain amount of oxygen in your blood. When you go up in elevation, without doing any form of stress or workout or breathing in excess oxygen or anything like that, you have less less oxygen in your blood. So what's happening is essentially through aerobic processes and whatnot, you have to work harder to do simpler tasks. So that's what's happening at higher elevations. So the way that people train for that at lower elevations is to restrict their airflow. So you see the guys wearing the Bane masks.
I've heard that didn't
That's
work.
what that's doing.
I've seen a lot of articles on where that didn't work. That doesn't work.
It's not great. It's not great for long-term effects. It was basically a big marketing scheme, but that was the idea behind it, is restrict the airflow. But if you think about it, is when you're breathing natural air, you're breathing 21% oxygen. So to breathe less oxygen than that would be incredibly difficult. You would essentially be suffocating yourself.
Right. I could see those maybe helping you a little bit, but not like it's not going to like
So
simulate being out in the at 14,000
right.
feet.
And the
So
mask isn't airtight, right? So like,
right, and none of it
yeah,
matters. So really, the way that it's done professionally for
I was gonna
fighter
make a COVID
pilots
joke. Right? I was gonna
for
make a COVID joke.
no, dude, come on. Oh, Jesus. For like fighter pilots and whatnot is the hyperbaric chamber.
Hmm.
Is they stick them in there, they shoot them up to 15,000 feet. And then basically when they're up at 15,000 feet, they're up there with oxygen mask on. And then when they get to it, they tell them to rip their oxygen mask off. And you can go through a lot of altitude sickness things from shortness of breath, headaches, all the way to hallucinations, things of that sort. But that's how they train the body to acclimate processing with a less it's called PaO2, so it's arterial oxygen.
So what I was gonna do, I was trying to get into a race in August, but it was a lottery and I didn't get in. Out in Colorado. Forget where it was near. It's called Leadville, the Leadville 100. And I was gonna go out for like 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time to kind of get used to the elevation, because I can work from home. So I was gonna try to be out there, and I mean, and I was gonna
Yeah.
make like a vacation out of it. But
I was gonna say all you got to do is train out there for a few weeks and you'll acclimate.
Yeah, I feel like I was acclimated within like a week and a half,
Yeah.
2 weeks tops. Because then, yeah, like if I went from Colorado back home to Jersey, and then I think there was a point where I was home for almost like 2 weeks. I was home for a while. I basically attached 2 business trips by just staying home. And so I was out in Jersey for 2 weeks, and then I went back to Colorado, and I had to reacclimate again. And I don't know if it was like quicker the second time around, but it usually took me about a week and a half tops, maybe 2 weeks tops, like I said.
It's a real thing. We went out to Lake Tahoe and our hotel had like this 2-page thing on altitude adjustments, and we were like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? And then we found out Tahoe's at 9,000 feet.
Yeah,
And
dude.
sure enough, we went for a hike and it was like an easy 2-miler, and we are like breathing like crazy. Like, what is
Yeah.
going on here?
Well, so there was one day we went to Maroon Bells and then some other hike down in that area. And my cousin and I hiked 16 miles in one day, and it was at about, I think, yeah, around that. I think at one point it was like we were tracking like over 10,000 feet or something for a while. It was something crazy, but we were well above sea level for sure.
I mean, I bet you Pat didn't call you and talk you off a ledge though. So
No, if I was gonna call somebody, I probably would have called one of you two guys. But no, I remember one of the coolest things. I mean, not that cool from their perspective, but so we were like going onto this trail, and there was like a drop off of like 150 feet, and there was all these people on the side of one truck holding it down so it wouldn't roll over into like the canyon. We literally like rounded this edge on the path, and as soon as you like came around that part of the mountain, like the cutout, you just saw like 5 people holding this truck down.
what the fuck?
Yeah, trying. And then down below, there was a car, like some old car there. Hopefully nobody was in that one, but
Jesus.
yeah, but it was like such a nice hike in the fall in Colorado. It was gorgeous because all the aspens were, they've turned yellow. There was like a little creek the whole time that was running by you. There was natural trout. It was actually, you know what? It was this one hike where there's this old mill. And there's like a really well-known picture on like Instagram and stuff around this old mill. Like can't remember the name of it though. But anyway, yeah, you should go out there for like a week or two before you do the race. Otherwise,
Yeah, you'll be fine
it'll
though.
jack you up.
Where in Colorado was that?
Yeah, I think it was close to Maroon Bells. I can't remember the name of. So Crystal Mill is yeah, near Aspen. Yeah. So Crystal Mill is that old mill that I was talking about.
Gotcha. Yeah, this race is near Breckenridge, I think. It's in Leadville, but in that area.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I knew that sounded familiar. Yeah, Breck, as they call it, is like so nice, man. I don't know if you've been before.
I've only been to Denver in Colorado.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Back in like you went to a ball game there, right?
Yeah, I went to some base out there for a week for a class. And I went to the course field.
I never went to a game.
What, really?
I was there. It's so stupid to me. Yeah.
And you lived in Fort Collins. How far is that from? Like it's like half an hour, right?
It's like 45 minutes, I think.
Dude, what the fuck?
How would
I
you
was like
not
I
go
was
to a
like
baseball
smack dab
game?
between Wyoming and Denver, basically. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know. I went to a
I mean,
couple
there's
like
nothing in Wyoming, but yeah, continue.
Did
yeah,
you ever
well,
go to Cheyenne?
that's the appeal of it. No, actually didn't. I never went. No, I don't think I went to Cheyenne.
Hmm.
Um, I went to like Medicine Bow, and then
Uh,
some town like on the way there. I think.
what the hell is Medicine Bow?
It's like a national forest. It's beautiful. We went up there. It was
Oh, I
July
see it.
4th of
Okay.
2020. Because I remember it was during the year of COVID, and like everybody, obviously, Colorado wasn't that bad. At least where I was at, like Colorado has plenty of open areas. So like, you didn't really have to like wear a mask or like stay inside the whole time, like a lot of my friends back home in New York City. But um anyway, so it was 2020. We're up there July 4th. Everybody's coming, all the Harleys are coming into town, a bunch of cars, and there's like a lake up there. At altitude. You're really high up. And there's still a ton of snow too. Literally in July, there was like at least a foot of snow
Damn.
where we were by this lake. Yeah, and the dog loves it. She was going ape shit, and then you kind of go a little further up this trail, and it was like there were no trees. We weren't necessarily above the tree line, but we were probably at the very top of it. So the dog was playing in the lake. People were fishing for trout, and everyone was kind of weird. The reason I'm like talking about like COVID and all that is because like it was everyone was sort of still a little weirded out because people were coming there from different parts of the country because it
You
was like
pass
a
somebody else on the trail and you're like, oh, oh.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So, because you could see like everyone that was fishing and all that, all the groups, everybody was like trying to stay far apart and stuff. But then it was like, yeah, anyway, there was no trees and it was like all that rock that just breaks up into a bunch of pebbles. What kind I can't remember the name of like I don't know. I'm
Was it
not a
called Gap
geologist.
Lake?
We
South
need a
South Gap Lake, North Gap Lake.
maybe I don't can't remember. Um, and the dog was like scaling that like a friggin' mountain goat, man, just going up and down. It was a good day. It was a good day. But like I remember first going there and going higher. So it was like obviously always a mile up. But then when you go to like 9,000 feet, 10,000 feet, 12,000 feet at the Continental Divide and you get up really quickly, I feel like I was gonna like pass out. Like literally you got the tunnel vision for like a second. So having to run, I remember getting off the plane back home and I felt like I could run a mile
Right.
because there was so much more oxygen. But yeah, man, I do think when I mean, running 200 miles or 100 miles, whatever that one is hard enough. But then at altitude and going up and down, like that's brutal, especially if your oxygen intake's not as good.
Get your hydration set too, man.
That's why it's the
Oh,
next
yeah.
challenge.
You dehydrate a lot quicker at
Yeah.
altitude. So like what is your talk a little bit about your nutrition, like your nutrition leading up to it and then race day nutrition. Because obviously 100 miles, 20 hours, you got to eat, you got to drink. Like, what are you leading up to it? How do you get ready? Like part of your training, and then day of, like, what are you doing food wise?
So when I was doing those 100-mile weeks, I was probably eating like 4,500 calories a day. Um, and I noticed that if I try to do like a couple 20-mile run days in a row or longer, that the second day, if I'm calorie deficient by more than like 500 or 600 calories on the first day, I'm just so weak on the second day. It was almost like a science experiment. It was just like I would catch myself like wanting to quit at like 13 miles when I knew I had a 20-mile run to do or something. So I found out how important your calorie intake was. So for the race is what I found works for me. And I'm not a big foodie or anything. It just food to me is just like calories and just because I have to. Uh, usually I'll take like a sleeve of Thomas bagels or sleeve and a half and just fucking eat them the night before. And I'll try to at least eat 4 to 4,500 calories a day before one of these long runs. And I won't run, so I'll have like a 2,000 calorie excess. I'll try to drink two gallons of water, and that's worked for me on at least 3 or 4 long runs, 50 miles or longer so far, where I haven't felt that the next day I've been weak because of nutrition or hydration. And then during the race, I try to stick with 300 calories an hour and 20 ounces of water an hour. Gets hard to remember when I'm by myself exactly how much I've eaten, but every time I've gone back and looked and counted, I've been pretty close to that. And what I use at least at the beginning of these races is like just a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because that's right about that 300 calories an hour. And then I drink this electrolyte beverage called Tailwind. And during the 100 in Jersey, they had Gatorade, so I was just drinking that because that's also calories in addition to the electrolytes. And then I'll usually take a salt pill once an hour. So I think I'm probably overdoing it a little bit, but I'd rather do that than the opposite. So that's generally my nutrition and hydration game plan for these longer runs.
I have the Michael Phelps diet.
I say 4,500 calories is a lot to eat. Do you just find yourself eating all day? Like, is that what you're doing, or you do big meals?
It would be like a big breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then if I'm sitting at like 3 or 3,500, I'll just pop like a Costco pizza into the oven after dinner and eat that in addition to dinner.
That's the dream, man. I do that sometimes too, but I'm not running for 100 miles.
Yeah, fuck that. Dude, I Googled the Michael Phelps diet.
He's
It's
like
like 2 dozen eggs.
12,000 calories a
Mhm.
day. Okay. Wait, listen
Yeah.
to this, dude. So Michael Phelps's breakfast: 3 fried egg sandwiches with cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, fried onions, and mayonnaise. So 3 of those.
That's the dream, man. That's the dream.
That's not all of it though. 2 cups of coffee, 1 5-egg omelet, a bowl of porridge.
Porridge.
Yeah, like dude, when I
Is that
hear
soup?
porridge, I think of like I think porridge is like a
I mean, it's like oatmeal.
oatmeal.
That's,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
I think of like anyway. So 3 slices of sugar-coated French toast, 3 chocolate chip pancakes.
That's all breakfast? Oh,
How the fuck do you eat that and not like how do you even finish that, let alone like keep it down?
does it give his workouts? Like, does he like eat like
swim.
a portion of the breakfast, swim for 3 hours, eat another breakfast, swim
He's
for 3 hours?
He's
Doesn't
actually
do that.
eating while he swims. He switches hands as he
Yeah, he's
strokes.
doing the backstroke and yeah. So this is lunch: half a kilogram of pasta, so a big ass bowl of pasta, 2 large ham and cheese sandwiches with mayo on white bread. Lunch, so a big bowl of pasta, a couple sandwiches. And then dinner: half a kilogram of pasta. So what? Not, dude, half a kilogram of pasta, an entire pizza, and more energy.
Yeah,
So that's
I can do that. I can eat all that. I
yeah.
mean, I don't want to do his workouts involved with it, but I can eat all that. That's not bad.
And they show like a picture of the meal. The pizza's not like, when you think about like a pie in Jersey or something like that, it's what, like 14, 16 inches, whatever it is. This is like a smaller, like it fits on a plate. So it's still a lot of food, obviously. But
that's 12,000 calories.
Dude, you should
Yeah.
there's a video out there. Some dude tried to do the Rocks diet. It's
Oh,
disgusting.
I saw that. He doesn't eat like 100 pounds of
I
carbs
mean,
a year, and like
the Rock literally is the definition of food for fuel. Like he has his cheat days, which he enjoys, but he eats food literally to make him go. It's ridiculous.
dude, I found myself watching WWF, or I guess now it's what, WWE. I found myself watching like videos from the, what is it, the Attitude Era with Stone Cold.
Oh yeah, dude. Those
And
were
then
the
The Rock
best.
came on. Those were the best days. I actually said to myself, like, if it was still like this, I might still watch it.
Hell
might
yeah, I
be
would
one of
watch
those
it.
Oh
guys.
yeah, absolutely. It's so good back then.
Is it
So
can
good back
you
then.
or if you smell what the Rock is cooking?
Both.
If-
Both. Because he would ask
That's
people,
what-
"Can you smell
what the Rock?
and then yeah, and if you smell, but let's be realistic, like Stone Cold was better, so just
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's not even going to be a debate.
He was like the
Yeah.
perfect heel, Stone Cold.
He was the epitome of a man.
Yeah.
Okay.
He worked on cars to drink beer.
Yeah. Tyler's ideal
Yeah.
definition of a man. But I guess so going back to Phelps though, like 2 cups of coffee in the morning. I wonder if that's like number
what
one
is the
energy, but then
nutritional? So what is? I was going to say, what is it? What do you think the nutritional benefit of the coffee is?
shitting everything out from the day before.
I mean, I guess the
Probably just to wake
caffeine.
up.
It could be, yeah. I mean, I guess the caffeine technically is a metabolic booster, right? But I don't know. I just
Did it say how much he was working out then? Like, because obviously he was burning that.
Yeah, he's working out a lot.
Because I want to
Didn't say
say
his like diet though.
during that 100-mile run, I think my watch told me I burned 1,300 calories. So
I mean, the other thing the other thing you gotta remember, Tyler, who I think, oh, you're good, is like, I mean, you're what, 5'11", maybe 6 feet
No,
tall?
yeah,
Are you
he's a
6 feet?
big dude. Yeah.
I was gonna say Michael Phelps is 6'4", 6'5". Like
Yeah, that's
he's
true.
a large man. That's why he has to consume that, X of what you consume.
Yeah, and he was still thin, right? Like obviously, like really, he was really muscular. He was cut as fuck, but he had probably what, like no body fat.
Right.
So it's
Yeah,
not like,
Tyler's probably got like 6 or 7%, so he's nothing compared to Michael Phelps.
I got no clue.
dude. Could you imagine? I mean, I haven't had that little body fat since probably like sophomore year of college.
I don't think I've ever had that little amount of body fat. Oh,
All that soda and the street meat that I was getting when you're working in New York City, put a little. That's when I started to see the weight gain.
Street
I didn't really
meat.
see a lot in college.
that's because you didn't drink in college.
Outside
That's
drink
why
that
most people
much,
see it
yeah.
because you drink in college.
Well, I went like, I mean, look, I think I went into college 140 tops at basically 6 foot. And then I think I graduated college probably 160. So still thin. But then yeah, after that, all the soda and shit like that, which I quit. I quit after a while. But anyway, yeah, dude, Phelps, 0% body fat. I can't imagine what it was like would be like to be that cut anymore, was I guess my point. But guy's a monster, so obviously it
Yeah.
was worth it.
So
Was he
so I
like
guess
14
going.
gold medals?
Oh, does he have that many?
He got 14 in
Yeah.
one Olympic, didn't he?
Oh, maybe that was it. Yeah, I
Or
think
does he have
it's
14 total? I can't remember.
I
I
think
don't know.
there's a whole thing about that. It was like, well, is he really the greatest Olympian ever because he's like a swimmer, and so like you're winning titles as part of like teams and stuff like that. It's not like individual
I mean,
medals.
the dude still did it, so yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
28
exactly.
medals, 23 of them gold, 13 gold in individual events.
Do you remember how exciting it was to watch? Like, it was like, oh, Michael Phelps is like swimming at 8 o'clock. Like, no matter, like, you could miss every other event, but when Phelps was on, you had to watch it.
Yeah. It was
I mean,
exciting. I watched that shit.
that's what that chick was for the last two there, Ledecky or whatever. That chick who was like mentored by Phelps. She was every time Ledecky was gonna swim, then she got beat by the Australian.
I remember the Phelps and the Ian Thorpe, the torpedo. I remember the
I do
Oh, what was
remember
that?
the
Was that guy like
torpedo.
South African or something like that? Or
Australian, I think.
Australian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had that rivalry. Yeah, that was good times. Do you like the summer or winter Olympics more?
Summer.
I'm kind of indifferent to Olympics in general. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like they don't certain things will hold my interest, but like I don't tune in for the 2 weeks of the year and watch every Olympic event. Like it's got to be something to entice me.
I take my answer back. I say winter.
I think that's a good question, man. I want to say summer because I like wrestling, I like boxing, I like judo's cool to watch. Soccer obviously is always cool to watch. Dude, fucking ping pong.
Bro,
Like
Curling.
hockey.
Curling.
that's true. That's true. Hockey's my favorite in the world.
Hockey,
Yeah.
Especially
all
when
the
we have a big team.
snowboarding and skiing events are
Skiing,
sweet.
Yes,
jumping, slalom.
Snowboarding's not as to me. It's like with Shaun White no longer there. It's like not as cool. It's not as interesting to me.
I don't know.
Winter's good. I guess they're both great.
Is skateboarding an Olympic event yet?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think they're still just X Games.
How about like handball, dude? Like that. I was so surprised when I saw that in the lineup.
Is pickleball a sport yet? Like a Olympic sport?
Should
Dude, I
be.
want to get into that. I want to
Should
get
be.
into that.
Yo,
Dude, everybody's getting into
it's
it.
awesome, dude. It is awesome. It is a lot harder than it looks, but it is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. When we joined the Y, I was like, we need to do pickleball. We need to dominate. Dude, because it's like an old, isn't it like usually it's like
It's an old person game.
Yeah.
Not
Because
anymore.
the court's shorter. Yeah, not anymore. Now there's like a professional league. LeBron owns a team.
Yeah, so does Gary V.
What are they called?
Oh no.
Gary V, the New
Gary
Jersey Fives.
V. Oh no.
You don't love him as a Jets fan?
Gary V.
Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah.
He is. He's a
I mean,
character.
Yeah,
He is a character. I mean, don't get me wrong. Business acumen. He's fantastic. He's incredibly genius. I think the man might need a content manager for his social medias.
Dude, he would love us because
I think he has
all
one.
yeah, she's got to have like he's probably like 100.
He's
Yeah,
got a bunch.
He's just the shit he puts at. He don't have Gary V at the Y playing basketball. He will fuck you up.
what do you mean?
Have you never seen him? He plays basketball at like the Y, or like on random city courts, and like he'll get hack fouled, and he like shoved a guy one time.
Really? He ain't
Yeah,
fucking around.
Good.
How
I
tall?
love the
Dude, how
fire.
tall is Gary Vaynerchuk?
like 4'8".
Seth, I thought you'd love him as a best friend.
No, I hate Gary Vee. I hate Gary Vee so much.
I'm a fan of him. I like him.
He ranges
though he's
5'8", 5'9". What is when you get out of bed and your spine's not as compressed? He's 5'9".
He's
Does that
done the
mean?
V method for like 4 days straight. He grows that inch, And then he slacks off. He doesn't do the V method for a few days, and he shrinks. It's understandable.
He's a character, dude. Like, yeah, my business is going under. I'm in like $1 million debt. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to start creating content. It's free. You're an idiot for not creating content. You just like everything is always create
Yo,
content.
hit
create
those yard
content.
sales, man. Hit those yard sales.
He would love us, I guess, for this.
Yeah, I don't knock him. I think he's got points.
No, I think he's a brilliant guy. I mean, his track
Yeah,
record.
no,
in business is
he's brilliant. He's just a
insane.
goon. He's just a goon, man. He's a lot to handle.
What
And he
what's the
brings
name
it
of teams?
Huh?
I do not know LeBron's team name.
Oh, and yeah, I just know his Gary V's is the New Jersey Fives.
Is Gary Vee from Jersey?
Yeah, Edison.
Oh, nice.
Well, I think they were like he's like born in Belarus and then came to the U.S.
Oh, so LeBron's team hasn't started yet, but it's LeBron, Draymond Green, and Kevin Love. They have a
Dude,
team.
that's like they're the players on the team.
No, they own the team. LeBron's not
Oh,
gonna
okay,
play
okay.
pickleball.
I figured this was like a joke for when they like retire. Eventually, they'd all have.
Nah, they own the team.
You just like screw around now.
Entrepreneur.
12 teams.
I think they expanded to 16 or are trying to expand to 16.
That might be a good investment. Like some people might think it's crazy. Like why are they investing in a pickleball team? But that actually might be a phenomenal investment. I'm into it. I don't know if I'm gonna get to the point where I'd watch it on TV, but
I'd play
it just
it.
seems
Yeah,
like
I don't know about watching.
I mean, it just seems like a sinking ship right now. I don't think now is the time to jump in on it.
well, it's summer, man. It's about to pop off.
Yeah, what people should be buying is they should be buying into professional lacrosse league teams because ESPN just picked up the PPL or the PLL. So they're going to start getting televised, which means sponsorship money, which means more money for the teams. So buy now.
So I remember I was playing lacrosse in the city. One of my buddies, we were talking about just like some of the kids in the area that they all went to play like D1. A lot of them did play D1. One kid became a captain of a team. Actually, 4 kids one year, 4 teams, sorry, had a captain from the town. So it was pretty big, obviously, in the area. Anyway, one kid went pro and he was at a party and he was like, bro, it's sick. I make hundreds of dollars a year. Right. They make no money. And so one day I'm out in the city going to get lunch. And I went to that one bar for lunch. What was it called? Like Johnny Utah's the one that has like the mechanical bull, but it's not underground.
Yeah. No, Johnny Utah's is underground one.
There's another one that's like pretty popular. But anyway, at the bar, there's a guy. He's a professional lacrosse player. They just had won the championship that year.
What do you win? $12,000?
Bro, he was sitting at the bar like celebrating by himself. And like he like had said to like the bartenders, like, yeah, I play for this team. I think it was like the Long Island Lizards. We just won a championship, and he's like literally buying himself shots, celebrating by himself. And it was really sad that like a professional sports player is by himself at a bar. It just man, because if it was the Yankees or the Giants or like one of the any other sport really, people would be like, holy shit, that's like this guy from the team or whatever. Or, yo, he's with the Giants. They just won the Super Bowl this year. But this guy was like a professional lacrosse player and he was just by himself. It was pretty sad.
I mean, it's basically a minor league sport anyway. So like if you think about it, minor league guys get paid next to nothing and nobody cares when they win a championship. So
yeah, it's one of my favorite sports, but it's like, no one really appreciates it. And why is that not? I guess because why is handball in the Olympics but lacrosse is not? To go back to that,
it's not enough countries care enough about lacrosse.
Who the fuck cares about handball besides you do it in like gym class in high school?
Well, clearly enough countries that they can put it into the Olympics.
It's gotta be a European thing.
Exactly. But if you think about it, like lacrosse is Canada and America, and that's it.
Oh, yeah.
How many colleges do you see Eastern Europeans playing on the lacrosse team?
But there's
Like that
got to
just
be like
doesn't happen.
England's got a professional team. I
It's
know
not even that big in the
Israel
US
Israel
yet.
came over and played. No, you're right, but it's like there's national teams. So I just imagine there's got to be.
Yeah, but they're like national under 18 team, you know? Like these are guys that are not.
Well, England came. Remember, England came to Hofstra,
They did
and I think
19 to
Israel
2.
didn't Israel
That's
too or something.
ruthless.
Oh shit, that was
That
that
was
game.
the ruthless game.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Dude, you know what? A goal. That fucking kid to come across this podcast
You don't even know his
and hear him
name.
talking.
What happened
We
again?
don't we don't know his name.
He would just yell ruthless during the.
Dude, yes, there was a kid that would be at every house. Him and this big kid. He was like 6'3", and I
Yeah, the
never saw
big
this kid
kid.
sober in my life. I
No.
never saw him sober in my
No,
life.
never saw
around
him sober.
campus. Anytime I saw that kid, he was always drunk. But these two guys would go to the games, and this kid was from he was from Massachusetts because we were playing UMass one day, and he was like, "Sit down, brethren," like talking to them. But he would just be like ruthless from the stands, and then that England game, we were up by like a bunch.
It was like 15 to 2, 16 to 2. It was wild.
Yeah.
And he walks in and he just looks at the score and goes, 15 to 2. That's ruthless.
Yeah.
But in this same game, the 6'3" kid, always drunk, was like dancing after a goal, and he goes to grab this like young, like 4 or 5-year-old kid from a
He
mom.
did. He did.
He puts him on his shoulders.
Yeah. And he starts dancing around. The mom's like runs up. She's like, "That's my kid. No, get down, get down."
That's enough of that.
Yeah, this kid was shit faced, dude. I remember one time he was in like the subway, and like there was a light on the wall, and he just stumbles into the light, his shoulder hits it, and just like takes the thing off the wall. He was always shit faced. Could you imagine being a parent and just like you don't know what your kid's doing, but you're that kid's yours, and he's just stumbling around campus drunk everywhere he goes. Dude, that kid's college experience is probably fun.
Yeah.
That was probably a fun college. More power to him. You only get to do that once, ideally. But all right. Well, okay, let's go into I mean, what the fuck do we even talk about? You're running an altitude, there's the Olympics, Michael Phelps's diet, pickleball, handball.
As you can see, this
drunk
this,
kids.
This,
so next, I'd say next after this race, I'm
what's next?
kind of revamping my training plan. I've added swimming in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm gonna try to reduce the weekly mileage to like kind of make it a little more sustainable.
Is that for like cardio? You're still getting cardio, but you're like it's easier on your joints.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'd like to, because I was doing like those 100-mile weeks. I'd like to be somewhere in like the 60 to 70-mile range, with 3 or 4 swims a week at like a mile to 2 miles, and then I hadn't lifted very much in the last like since January probably. So work that back into.
It shows.
It probably doesn't really do anything for you anyway, right?
No, I think I need to. I need to at least legs. No, it does a lot. I feel like your whole body. I mean, obviously, I'm not out there doing push-ups in the middle of the trail or something, but I think overall fitness, I just makes sense to me. So I'm gonna revamp it all and probably do that though. I'm taking a week off after this race, which I didn't do last time, and kind of affected me and negatively. I think I started running like 2 days after the last race, and my ankle was still swollen. My feet were still pretty fucked up, and my hip flexors were sore till like a week ago. So like for like 3 weeks, my hip flexors were sore. So I'm gonna take a full week off this time, and then figure out my training plan going forward.
Okay. What's like in this sport? What's the highest level you could like? What's the most esteemed runner? What have they achieved? Is there like a thing that's like known as like the top of the?
I feel like there's like a few different few different niches in like ultra running. There's people who run like strictly on tracks and try to like see how many miles they can complete in 24 hours or 48 hours. Like there's some beast people out there. There's a woman, Camille Heron, I think is her name. She just did 270 something miles in 48 hours on a track. And then there's like the Boston Marathon of ultra marathons is the UTMB. I think it's in France. It's the most gorgeous views you'll ever see during a road race. So doing something like that, or the Western States in the United States, is like the championship essentially.
Okay.
So winning one of those, but I don't think that's not one of my goals. I just want to run some of the races.
Well, that's not like you.
Yeah, true.
It's not like you. You're like, I want to win one of those.
True.
It's called maturing. That's why he calls Pat.
No, he's getting soft, dude. And that's why he's getting soft. Because then if you didn't get it, you'd be like, that would piss you off, and that would make you go even harder to go after that goal. That's not like you, man. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I think you're right.
This is why you should have called me. This is why you should have called me.
Pat won't let me talk about other races. He keeps telling me the focus is the Keys
What is he,
100.
white supremacist?
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
No, that my focus the last 6 months has been the Keys 100, so I can't talk about races after that I want to do because the focus is this one. I could think about those after. Yeah. I don't know.
Seth, remember when someone asked your dad if he was racist and he goes, I'm too old to run?
Yeah. Pretty sure I asked him, actually.
Oh,
Good old Fly. Good old Fly.
Best comeback to that.
Yeah, that man.
All right, cool. Well, look, I think I don't Seth, any other questions for Tyler?
No, I think you're sufficiently crazy. But we're rooting for you. Do you have a tracker on this one? You gonna send us the info? Can we watch it?
Oh
Can we
yeah,
keep up with it?
this one there actually will be. Yeah, I'll send you some stuff.
Why couldn't you last time? It was like your phone battery died like too quickly if you were doing that. I feel like there was like a technical reason why you didn't.
So the Garmin watch I have, I can send you just a tracker. You can see my current location real time all the time, but it kills the watch battery. The watch will only last like 12 hours.
I don't want that. Yeah.
But the race, the New Jersey race didn't have its own GPS thing or tracker thing, but this race has a few different ways to like see progress. There's one app that through facial recognition like can track where you are based on photos that are posted and then the people taking photographs along the race.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
I think that's the FBI's most wanted.
I was just gonna say it sounds like a fucking government.
I think that's what that is.
So there's that. There's a live stream of the finish line, and then there's the chip in the number. It'll let you know when I cross like the 10 miles and 20 miles or something.
Yeah, see, that's all I want to know is like when you cross 10 miles, 20 miles, things like that.
Dude,
make sure you're still alive. I mean,
if there's a technology that knows where you are based on the photographs of your face, what the fuck does the government have?
That's fucking.
Dude, do you realize that in Europe? Do you realize that in Europe they don't take your passport anymore? They just scan your face when you walk through customs.
No, because I've been in Europe and it's been too long.
Yeah, so when we went for our anniversary, there are two different lines. There was an EU line and then a non-EU line. And if you were in the EU, you were coming into EU customs. They literally just scan your face and then you walk through. Wow. It's coming, dude.
How'd it take him 10 years to find Bin Laden with this kind of shit?
Because he was holed up in the goddamn middle of the desert with 1980s porn.
No, he was like he was in a city with a really big wall.
He was in a compound,
Yeah, compound.
Was he in Pakistan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it? No, was it no, I don't even know.
Wherever he was, all I remember from it is they found a crap ton of porn and 1980s computers.
And his like 3 wives.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's better living conditions than they found Saddam. He was in a hole in the ground. So
did you ever watch Zero Dark 30?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dude, so I watched that every September 11th.
Chris Pratt's transition from the fat goofy dude to like the military badass.
He was in Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, small role, super small role, but that's when he started getting like jacked and whatnot. That's when he got Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's how he got Terminalist, which I'm telling you guys, you gotta watch Terminalist. It's a great
I think I did.
show.
I think no, I didn't. I made that up.
He was found in Abbottabad, Pakistan. I was gonna say Jabbabad, but he was in Abbottabad, Pakistan. Yeah, dude. So Chris Pratt's the SEAL that keeps asking, what's her name? Jessica Chastain, the main actress. Yeah, like he's like, you sure about this? Because last time we weren't, and we lost a bunch of guys. But yeah, small role. That was a great movie. But yeah, I watched that. Yeah, my tradition is watch that every 9/11. Maybe that sounds weird, but I don't know. I remember. Do you remember where you were when you found out?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they didn't tell us. They didn't tell us in our school. They wouldn't tell us.
Okay, so I didn't mean 9/11, but let's start there.
Yeah, I meant 9/11. Yeah.
I meant like when you found out he was dead.
Oh yeah, I know where I was then too.
Most people would definitely assume what you guys did. So where were you on 9/11?
9/11 as a sixth grade, I was in
Yeah.
like art class, and then
Okay.
the teachers wheeled the TVs in, and we watched the TVs the rest of the day. And I think we
They
got let out
showed you the
early.
TV. Oh, really?
Yeah, we got
Okay.
let out because they wanted to watch too.
Yeah.
If I'm an adult, I'm watching that shit. You know,
Yeah,
An adult
absolutely.
at 12 years old. Seth, how or how you were obviously 12, you were in sixth grade, right?
Sixth grade. Yeah, they didn't tell us though. They sent us home with a piece of paper, and I walked in the door, and the TV was on because my sisters were both in high school, and they had found out at school, and I learned about it that way. So it took me. I
Yeah.
didn't know about it till 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
damn.
So I was same age, same grade. So I remember a lot about the day actually. So hearing sirens all day
Well,
because
you're a
all
lot
the surround.
closer.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
People from your hometown were commuting into the city.
yeah, for sure. So you heard the sirens all day from the cop cars and from the fire departments that were going. Like I guess they were going through town in order to get to the city, and then every 5 minutes, he's like a kid would get called down to the office to be excused. So and we're all like looking at each other like, what the hell's going on? And then I remember being in sixth grade history class and the principal coming upstairs and like taking the teacher outside. And the teacher came back in and he was just like, he just stood there kind of in silence and like shook his head. No one told us. And then at the end of the day, I also remember, by the way, being in that class, that same class, and there was a Jeep that was like flying down the road and then all of a sudden just like stopped and it went backwards really fast as well.
The
Might have been
same day.
completely
That's
yeah,
weird.
it might have been completely unrelated. But I remember like that's kind of weird. And then the teacher, that whole thing happened. And then at the end of the day, they lined this up to go out to the, get picked up by my parents. And like all the moms were like on their knees, like with their arms out to their kids,
Mhm.
like bawling. And I remember like saying to my sixth grade teacher, like, because there was a school shooting, I think the day before, and I heard it on the radio. And I was like, how, are we doing all this because of that? She didn't like tell me. And then sure enough, got in the car. And then my mom takes I had a friend that we were taking home too, and then his brother was older. He was hilarious. Those two kids were like, they said that they had access to a lot of things that most parents wouldn't give their kids or access to at that age, like playboys and shit like that. I mean, the stuff that these kids were just like wild. Anyway, so we get into this house and the brother runs up and he's like calling for his brother. So like when you walk in, there's like a staircase that you could see like one of those like high walls. It was a super nice house. And he leans over and he was like, "Yo, dude, did you hear what happened?" And at that point, my friend's like, "Yeah, like his mom just told us." Like 9/11 goes, "Yeah." And they hit that big fucking dildo in Washington D.C.
Oh
The
my God.
Washington Monument, which wasn't even true.
Nope.
But he was like, they hit
Jeez.
that big fucking dildo. And then I just remember going home and like seeing it on the news and both my parents being like really distraught. So, but I remember it. Yeah, I remember it really well, obviously. All the sirens and all that kind of stuff. And the dildo thing. That's maybe one of the things I remember the most.
You've been to the memorial?
I have, yeah, a few
I have.
times.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
It's
I
eerie.
picking up the phone. I think I was good until I listened to the phone calls. And then it was just like super
Yeah, don't
depressing.
like that. No, super
Yeah.
depressing. I went, so I went, I've been 3 or 4 times. I went 3 or 4 times while it was established. And then I went down there once, would have been,
You've been with me one time to see the infinity pools. We were down there.
yeah, yeah. But I went even before while they were still rebuilding it back up. And it was just
Mhm.
like, not like super, like we were in college. So it was 2008, 2009,
Yeah,
but
it was the
it took
beginning.
them a while to get things built back up, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And the only thing I really remember from it is just how quiet. I mean, it's New York City, right? It's the loudest, biggest city, busiest city in the entire country, right? Maybe even the world. But just how quiet that little area was. It was very eerie, very weird. So I mean, it's a lot. We were watching a doc on Netflix the other night that had nothing to do with 9/11 other than the guy was it's the Bernie Madoff documentary.
Hmm.
And they talk about 9/11 because obviously the market got hit hard after that. And obviously they have to show the footage. And like it doesn't change every time you see it. Your feelings don't change about it. I still get the goosebumps. I still just feel like an empty in your belly. It's weird, man. It's weird. And to have to tell your kids this in 10 years, 20, like we've seen some stuff and we're only in our 30s. So
Yeah. I think one podcast we should talk about, like, current affairs, that and stuff. Because I often do wonder, like, was our parents' generation, at least our parents' generation, probably not yours, Tyler. Yours are a little younger, but like, was there the shit they saw? How do you compare it to
I don't think they're
today?
younger. Aren't
Bro.
your parents like 62, 63?
Parents
Well,
are
no,
like-
but like no, they're like 70. I mean, like the stuff that they saw when they were younger.
you
Like
said
you
your dad
see,
just turned 69, right? Or is about to
yeah,
turn?
yeah. Wait, what's your point?
That my
It's
parents
6
are like 6
years.
or 7 years younger.
It's 6
It's not a
years.
different generation.
Not even close. They're both they're
Are they
they're in
okay?
this
Really? Okay, fair
What do
enough.
you think? They were in their
Um,
40s?
but no, like
No, like I thought they were in
damn.
like they're like mid to late 50s.
Oh, gotcha.
Because
But
her parents are mid 50s.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. Well, anyway,
yeah.
Vietnam and all that crazy shit, and
But no,
then
we talk about this all the time. My wife and I have how like we feel like we've been through a lot, but at the same time, like our grandparents' generation went through Pearl
oh, they've
Harbor
seen even
and
crazy
Great
shit. Yeah, even
Wars
crazy.
and like
Yeah,
and
everything.
if you think about it, like my grandpa saw Pearl Harbor, World War II,
Yeah,
Vietnam War, the Cold
yeah,
War, like there was a lot of shit for that generation. So like it's
yeah.
tough to say. We won't know really.
The Red
So-
I
Sox
wonder if they're
championship
as
drought,
pathetic.
86
Oh
years.
yeah, yeah, your grandfather.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they won when he was like 6, and they didn't win again until 2 or 3 years before he passed away.
So your grandfather's like definitely a different age than every other grandfather, right, Tyler? Is that what Rich is trying to get at now?
Oh yeah, he's in a
No,
different generation.
I literally
Different
thought your
generation.
parents were like younger,
Whole different
younger than
generation.
well, even like I would say 6 to 10 years makes a big difference.
I don't know.
Sometimes it can.
That's
I mean,
difference
if you
between,
think about
like
it, so like
disco and like 80s rock.
so it
hair
can. I mean,
bands.
in a way, if you think about it, like so Rich, your dad is 69, my dad is 66. Yeah, I'll be 67 in a couple months. So
Mhm.
like they were older in 1970, like they were getting into high school frame versus Tyler's parents were still in it. So like at certain portions of their life, yeah, it was different, but like in the grand scheme of things, no.
Yeah.
So
That's fair
Yeah, well,
enough.
my
I
dad
mean-
could beat up your dad, so there's that.
Yeah,
bring it on, man.
Well, like put it this way, like my mom, her favorite band's the Beatles, and she saw them on she watched them on black and white TV, like when they were on primetime shows just getting started.
Oh yeah, well my mom walked up and uphill to school both ways in the
15
snow.
miles.
Well,
Yeah.
her mom's favorite bands or artists are like Queen and like 80s hair bands. Right. So it's like and I thought your parents were about the same age, like 55, 56. So
Nah,
because that
So-
still would be like
you thought wrong.
You're
in the
just
20s
wrong.
when they had
It's
you.
fine.
Yeah, I did. No, you're right.
I mean, we're starting to
was
really
wrong.
understand.
I was
We're
wrong.
really starting to understand why Tyler calls who he calls when he's
Yeah,
struggling
I
on a
guess
race
so.
course. That
I
makes
guess
sense.
so.
It's all coming together.
So you're right. So wait, so going back to Bin Laden.
What about Flight 93 first? And you guys go to that museum?
The
Oh,
one
where-
in the
where
middle
is
of
that? Down in-
Pennsylvania.
Middle Pennsylvania. Yeah.
I have
Never
not
been
been
to
to
it.
that one. No.
I did.
No.
I did that. It's actually, I did it when I was on my way out to Dayton, Ohio for a couple months, or maybe I was did my way home. So it's kind of like, I guess, the shortly off 80 or something, one way or another.
Yeah, probably. Shanksville? Is that where it
uh,
is?
Yeah, I was just looking it up. I think the actual town, I think that's right, but it's in Somerset County. It says Stoystown, Pennsylvania. I don't know what the hell that is, but Shanksville sounds right. That was another creepy one to think that like a plane had crashed there and that many people died there. It was interesting. It's weird.
Dude, that changed so many outlooks about travel, I'm sure too, and just so many things.
So Bin Laden,
Yeah, where were you when you found out Bin Laden was killed?
I was working on base.
Rich,
Oh,
you and
were
I were in
you?
this.
Yeah.
You and I were in the same place, Rich.
No, we were not. No,
Yes, we were. We were in our dorm.
We were not. I was
I'm fairly confident we were in our dorm.
no, because this would have been, what was it, May 2011? Hang on, when was
Because you
Bin
were
Laden
yelling
killed?
USA out the window.
That was when that was when I was drunk and the Giants won the Super Bowl.
I don't think that was it.
That was 100% it. Because Bin Laden died May 2nd, 2011.
So that would have been junior year, spring
spring,
semester.
I was in Florida.
You were back. No, I thought you were gone.
Spring
You
semester, I was
sure?
in Florida. Yes. I'm
Why
positive.
were you yelling? So then why were you yelling USA out the window when the
The
Giants?
because it's basically it's America's team, right?
All right, so
America's team.
I think we got enough for today's podcast, right?
Yeah.
That was good. All right.
The Giants
I
are
was-
more
I
America's
was-
team than the Patriots. Come on,
I
bro.
think both are more than the Cowboys. But wait, so I was on parade route because I was working at Disney at the time, and I remember for whatever reason I like looked at my phone. It might have been like as like backstage as we call it, and then there was a text from my mom. She's like, "Don't say anything. Don't make a big deal because you don't know who's around you." But she
Just
was
let
like,
out in America. America.
yeah. Just start fighting anybody that doesn't have an American accent around me. She's like, don't make a big deal, but we got Bin Laden. And then I remember after everybody came into like this little hacienda place where we all met in between parades, the guy who was the manager was like, all right, guys, I just want to tell you like that we have like captured or killed Bin Laden. Or I guess killed Bin Laden. So I'll never forget that too, because I remember me and this other kid from New York both looked at each other and were like, "Fuck yeah!" And we like
We
talked
got
a
him.
little bit about it. We got him.
We got him.
Remember one show? Freshman year, there was a brawl, literally a 40-man brawl in this courtyard. This one kid had a name. He was Korean. A Korean guy with a name. And he like ran away, I guess, because they knew shit was like they knew the public safety was coming for him. So then our suite mate had a similar similar name, definitely a similar last name. It was only different by one letter. And public safety pours into the suite and then finds this kid sleeping in bed, wakes him up, and then you just what's your name? And he says it. And then the guy from public safety like gets on the radio. He's like, "We got him." And it was not even, dude. The one kid was what, like 6'3", 250 pounds.
The complete opposite
Yeah.
of your suite mate at the time. Like your suite mate is like
5'7",
maybe
5'4", little. Yeah, he was a small guy.
maybe 110 pounds soaking wet, and the other guy was like 6'3", 6'4", just massive jack dude.
Oh my god.
He met the description of an Asian male with a very close name. We got him.
We got him.
We got him. Anyway, so you were on base. Did you guys go crazy?
Nah, they did increase the security measures to get on though for like I forget if it was like the week after or something because they they thought there may be retaliation or something or whatever. They increased. So I forget if it was like usually we're in FP Alpha or Bravo, and then I think we were in like Charlie or Delta or something. So it was just more increased security measures to get on base. I don't think anybody went crazy.
I don't remember anything happening after the fact. I don't know. Seth, where were you?
I was in the dorm room, I thought, with you. Apparently not.
He was yelling out the window. It was Seth who was yelling out the window.
I think I honestly probably was asleep. Like
I hope you were somebody who was cheering USA.
I'm sure our entire campus was. I mean, you think about it, we were 45 minutes from downtown. You could see the skyline from our campus.
Yeah.
So
Man, that was so cool being able to see the skyline from that dorm room.
Mm-hmm.
When you squinted.
Yeah.
You said to bend your head a little bit. You were fine. But yeah, I mean, I do remember campus going kind of crazy after that. Not like in a bad way or anything, but there was definitely chanting USA and cheering and like horns honking and all that. So.
I was like, what did you say?
Foghorns and cars.
I was like, wait, why don't I understand him?
Foghorns and cars. Yeah, crazy times. I often think about like, so obviously we grew up during the war on terror, right? And there's our side of it. And I mean, just we can go on, and we should on one episode about how society and just like a lot of stuff changed. But you gotta think about the other side too. Like we had troops away for 20 years overseas, but there was other people who had like US troops in their country. Dude, imagine having a foreign troop in your country.
We've talked about this, I think, or you and I did, Rich, and I'd like to hear Seth's.
Right, I think you and I talked about it, Tyler, at one point.
Did we?
Yeah, at one of your parties at some point, if I remember right.
Well, I love that we were drinking and talking about. Go ahead.
I always wonder, like, what it's like, or what, like, for example, what German schools teach German citizens nowadays about World War II. Like, do they?
I know.
Well, as an example, but like, what do Japan citizens learn about World War II? What do Iranian kids learn in school nowadays. Like
Yeah, exactly.
I always wonder, like, obviously your country's textbooks in schools are printed by your government, or right, or whatever, approved by your
Yeah,
government. And
yeah.
uh it's just interesting. I'd be curious to.
So we had a German foreign exchange student my senior year, and we asked her, and they talk about it. I mean, it's very much a shameful thing. Like
Mm.
it's not like they talk about it and they're like, yeah, we were doing really well, and then this happened and we lost the war. Like it's a shameful time period for them, but they don't shelter it. Like they still teach it.
Do they feel like they were duped? Like there was propaganda that
I
led
don't
them down
know.
this.
I don't know. I don't remember. These things that stuck out was the fact that they did talk about it and it was a point of shame. My assumption would be that they probably have to keep it pretty unbiased because technically it's a public domain type thing. You can't be too like you think about our textbooks, we can't really be too biased about things
I don't know. I think
in
it's biased.
education.
I
I
think it's
mean,
biased.
nowadays, yeah, because we're picking what we put in and don't put in textbooks. So yes, in America, we are very biased with our textbooks. Absolutely. But
Every place probably has definitely a bias.
yeah,
But yeah, man. I mean, that's got to be a crazy thought having. Well, yeah. Well, what do you think people? What do you think people think about the American West when they study that overseas cowboys? And like, you got to wonder what they
do you think they
how they
still think there
interpret
are
that.
cowboys in the West instead of like hipster douches in
Well, bro, there
California?
kind of is, man.
Well, there are still cowboys out there.
like want like yeah, there are there's
Have you
still actually yeah there
have you
are
not
some
seen
legitimate
Yellowstone?
cowboys.
I mean,
Yeah, it's a
That's true.
totally accurate representation.
There are people that do that as a job, but well, I guess it's different though, right? You're not like wrangling the cattle from what it was in Texas all the way up to like wherever the hell they got on the train to get brought up, but go across like hundreds of miles. But if you go to Colorado, there's people that still that's something I got. So I have cowboy boots. I love my cowboy boots. But like I don't think I could ever wear a cowboy hat. But people out there rock those things. They rock the big belt buckles. They go to rodeos for fun, which actually rodeos are kind of fun.
I've never been. I want to go.
Question: have
They're
you
kind of
worked
fun.
on a ranch for an entire day? Is that why
Have I
you have
worked on a
cowboy?
ranch?
Yeah, is that why you have cowboy boots?
Yeah, I was
He was a
the
drifter.
yeah, just doing what I could to make a dollar.
Or did you just move out west and meet a girl who liked cowboys, so you chameleoned yourself into wearing
No,
cowboy?
no, not at all. I remember getting my first pair, and she was like, "What the fuck?" No, I think I was out at a friend's house. We had like a poker night, and this one kid that was there, he was actually from Jersey too, and he had cowboy boots, and he's like, "Bro, you gotta get these." He's like, "Look, they just popped on, popped off, go through the mud, whatever the hell it was." And just one day, I just felt compelled, and then I loved cowboy boots so much, I traded in what brand did I have, like Ariat or something like that, Ariat for I got some Tacovas, which like fit so well. The quality's awesome. Uh, I love cowboy boots. I don't really wear them. I mean, when I work from home and kind of live in a small town now, so like, where do we go? But I don't wear them that often anymore. But I do love them. So, well, cool. I wanted to think about that. Anyway, let's skip to the next. How much time you guys got?
Oh, I'm overtime already, so
All right, we got to do Randy Moss and Megatron.
we definitely wait. Are we doing that right now? Do you want to do that
No,
right
no,
now?
you're overtime. We don't have to. We got two here. I guess let's just finish it. So yeah, do you think they're just a bunch of people in cowboy hats with guns on their hips, and there's like, do they think it's Westworld?
Do you think there's still like train robbers and like those type of things too? Like,
Yeah,
what do
yeah.
you
And
think
then
people?
there's just L.A.
Nah, I don't think they think that.
There's New York. There's a bunch of dudes on horses who are robbing trains and sticking up saloons, and then there's LA. That's it. That's our country.
Would you, if Westworld was a real thing, would you pay? Let's just say it was like affordable, right? It was like affordable, quote unquote. Let's say it was like $100 a night, a day to be in Westworld, whatever it is.
I
Okay.
mean, is it like Westworld before it goes off the rocker and like you don't die?
No, 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 no. Yeah. Before it goes off the rocker.
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
You
Yeah.
die. Would you pay?
Oh no, I don't.
yeah.
I mean, if I'm gonna die, no. But yeah, absolutely, I do it. If it were like affordable and like a real thing, but like death
Wait,
wasn't an
yeah, that's
option,
a
yeah,
fucking stupid. That's a fucking stupid question, actually, because
like absolutely, I would do it.
everybody would say yes to
Absolutely.
that. If it was
I mean,
affordable,
would you pick
if it
the
was
light
40,
colored?
if it was $40,000 a night, like it is in the show, I think it was 40K. Would you
So
do
here's
it?
the question. I mean, if I
Nope.
had that disposable income, I would
I would not.
absolutely.
I don't think
But
I would
here's the
do it for
question.
$100.
Here's the question. Would you go
What?
light colored hat or dark colored hat?
Dark colored.
What do I gain? What do I gain
Dark
out of doing
color.
that for $100?
Bro,
It's
are
the
you
experience,
fucking
man.
kidding
It's
me?
just the
You wouldn't want to live in the
experience.
old west.
You
Nah,
wouldn't want to
For
shoot
like a
some
day.
straight
For a day.
bourbon.
I honestly
Yeah,
don't
bro.
think so.
You could you're traversing country on a horse, you got a 6-shooter, you could
There's
lose
a
your
reason why
scalp.
we've got cars.
Oh my god, bro. I would 100% do it.
Ah, such a.
Life is
100%
I
do
would
life
that.
is
do it.
better than it's ever
I
been. Why
would
the
do
fuck
it
am I gonna go back 150 years?
for the experience.
The old west is like that's the epitome of see, this is what Europeans have to think. That's like the epitome of the American spirit. Like our westward expansion literally made us who we are in so many ways. So like to go back to that
So the people on
time,
the East Coast didn't matter?
it didn't define the American character as much as
Because
I would say the westward
because
expansion.
the East Coast people remember were all the Brits who didn't want to be British anymore, but they were still Brits.
Like there was the
So when you
revolution,
move,
right?
right.
Yeah.
So when you moved west, that's when you really America kind of developed who it was, and that's why Manhattan men are still weak.
Manhattan men, New York men. Dude, that's like
I
it's
don't know if
like
I agree with
basically
that either.
you
The
had
Civil War was fought on the East Coast.
it was fought in the South, it was fought out west. They fought in
I don't mean on
Colorado.
the I don't mean on the fucking ocean. I mean it was fought east of the Mississippi.
Yeah, a
All the
lot. I
battles you
mean,
hear about, all the battles that mattered.
yeah, okay, fine, but it wasn't. Yeah, but there was guys from regiments from all over the country.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was, I mean, if you think about the premise of the war, like stop thinking about where it was and who came from where. Think about the premise of the war. It was the South
Fine,
who
north and
wanted
south,
to,
I
yeah.
don't think moving west defined who we are. I think
100%, dude. Think about it.
I think the breaking away from Britain and like the Boston Tea Party more defined who we are
That definitely
than
defines. Well, but
than
we
moving
no, no, okay.
westward.
Maybe I shouldn't say the word define. Maybe I shouldn't say the word define. But I do
It
think
helped
it
us
had
evolve. It
a
helped us evolve into more of an independent.
in a crazy, yeah, in a crazy way. So you have westward expansion, right? You have the railroad. So now we're connecting two parts of the country, which usually would take months to get across. Now you can do it in what, like a week or something like that. Along the railroad, you have all these towns that are popping up, right? Then there's the mountain men. There's the guys who are then there's the cavalry. We're at war for how many years? We were at war with the Native Americans, I guess, like those tribes from before the Civil War till well after the Civil War. So we're at constant war. There's the expansion of law, but law is expanding much more slowly than civilization, right? Like you have to have a certain number of people to apply or whatever, get your statehood and all this stuff. Like law's slow. You have the sheriffs, you have, basically posses of guys that would have to handle shit themselves. You have renegade bands that are coming in and, terrorizing people. There's the bandits. I mean, it's
You got to land the plane, man. I'm a little. You've diverted
Yeah, I
now.
don't
I
know
don't even
what
know what point you're trying to make anymore.
I don't know what
no,
to go for, but I
pay
think I
attention.
would say that it like allowed for part of the American dream, right? Like you move to America, you take all these fucking risks, but you're rewarded if you can survive with your 100 acres out in Idaho or something like that because you did the
Yeah, the
Oregon
homestead.
Trail or
Yeah,
something. I feel like that could be an
it's that
argument,
grit
but
though, dude. It's the grit
mhm.
that I think it gave us so much
see,
grit.
I think it helped us evolve almost, like I said. So like, yes, the people who came to America, the Boston Tea Party, all that, those were people who didn't want to be British anymore. But at the same time, if you think about it, like after we won that war, they were still kind of running America almost like a mini Britain. Like there was still this
The
setup. And
Constitution they put
then
in
the
place is
Western
still in
expansion.
place.
It is. Oh, I'm not saying it's not, but like
The laws we
the
follow are still
the
established there.
evolution of the people though, like those people set to move out, right? They set to continue to move west and do more for the country as opposed to like making it another country. So I think this idea that they still wanted to be part of America, they just wanted more and they wanted to live out there and have that vastness. I think that
Manifest destiny. That
correct.
right there is Americans like,
Correct.
we're destined to go to the next ocean.
Yep.
And the level of grit it took, and like, I mean, dude, like what happened in that generation alone? It's just insane.
How would you
So
want
I
to go
think
relive that?
because it's just quintessential to who we are as a
If
people.
I guess if you can't die, I guess I could see there would be an appeal. But like,
Yeah, start a big saloon fight, get thrown out.
I mean,
of
yeah,
those,
if you
like
think
two
about it,
flapping doors.
like think about it, Tyler. So you're not going to die of dysentery or any of that crazy stuff. So there's none of like the negative effects of being there. You just get to shoot people and drink whiskey
yeah, it's
and walk
whack.
through saloon doors and ride a horse.
That's whack. I think if you should if you're gonna get the opportunity to go live there, you should be able to die while you're
So
there.
Tyler, what's your Westworld? So what's your figurative Westworld then? Where
Yeah,
would you want to go that's like not this reality that you would want to
Naboo.
experience? Jesus Christ.
Wait, dude,
All right, go to
beautiful
Disney
planet,
World.
though.
That's
Go to
what
Disney
Beautiful
World.
planet. I would 100% go there. I would pay a lot of money to go there. Yeah. Well, I think the question though, Seth, that I originally asked you, and what we're asking you now is like, what would be someplace you'd want to go or live so bad for a day that you would be willing to just stockpile a bunch of money, save for 10, 15 years, whatever it would take,
Boy,
and
one
then
day.
spend it on a day?
In
What's
a
that
time frame,
important to you?
like a
What's
day
that
in time, like a location in time.
or universe, like to your point, if we could somehow create like a Naboo, that would be cool to go to.
That would be so fucking cool.
I mean, no, I want to live with the Avatar people.
That would be cool too.
100%. That would be pretty sweet.
If I could
Naboo
pick
is so
anywhere
overrated.
real, if I could pick anywhere real,
Yeah.
anywhere in time. Man, I would want to go back to when they were building the fucking pyramids. I think.
That'd
I
be
was
cool
just
to me.
thinking that. I was just thinking that
Cool.
there's so many things in time that like the
How-
the
how the
conspiracy
How the fuck
theories
did you
are
guys
out there.
build this? I
Thank
need to
you.
know.
And I want to go there for a day and watch them do it. I agree.
What would you do if you saw aliens?
I'd
I'd
come back
be
and
like, I
tell
fucking
everyone.
knew it. I fucking knew it.
What would you do? Yeah, you would tell everybody. Oh,
Yeah.
what, dude? So what if
Oh
though?
my
Like
God, we're going down the rabbit hole.
we have to.
I
That's
can't
all
die,
good.
right?
Chewing,
I
dude, you're
can't
chewing.
die, right? In the
Yeah,
scenario,
correct.
I'm taking one of those aliens captive, and I'm interrogating them and figuring out how we can bring that technology back to.
But it's not a real alien; it's a robot alien.
Oh, good point. Good point. Damn.
So they don't really
That's-
know.
So if you had a secret like that, right? Would you come back and tell? Like if like before getting into a time machine, you're like, yo, you can't really mess with anything, and you come back, you can't say anything that's going to alter history, right? Would you go to the grave with that, or would you share that?
Well, it can't alter history, but can it alter the future?
Yeah, I mean, if you
Well, I
come
guess
back and tell somebody, but if you tell somebody
Yeah,
about
all
it
the future,
20
the future,
years
the future.
ago, I was gonna say, if you tell somebody about it 20 years ago, then yeah, you can alter the current
Yeah,
trajectory. But if you came back and yeah, I'd still tell somebody.
Yeah, maybe
was?
it was supposed to happen.
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah, fate.
Ooh, that's like a paradox.
Ooh, maybe it was fate. Yeah.
That we got it. Yeah.
I mean, this is the idea of did we find out about aliens because someone went back in time and came back and told us, or did someone already know that someone was coming back in time and told that person so that when they went forward in time, they would fix everything?
Are aliens just time travelers?
I'm pretty sure there's a science term for that other than paradox. Like this idea that someone is destined to go forward in time and make something happen that doesn't affect the past. It's like I can't remember.
The seventh son of the seventh son,
Jesus
under
Christ.
a waxing moon, shall go forward and backward in time.
How
What
did we end up
about-
back
okay,
on
wait.
aliens?
Always.
I know. Where
I
did
think the
we,
answer is always aliens. I think the
Aliens.
answer is always aliens.
think about people that have gone to their grave not knowing the truth to basic things. Like there's how many people over the course of history died not knowing the earth was round or that the sky is blue because like all these things that there was myths about.
That was like everybody till the 1600s, right, or something like that. Whenever.
So
or
imagine like
later.
so fast forward 120 years, right? We make some sort of discovery. They make some sort of discovery where they're like, we know there was aliens and we have proof of how the pyramids were made and how Stonehenge was made. Like they get to know that shit and we don't. We're gonna die with such ignorance in so many ways.
Yeah, but doesn't every generation technically? I mean, in
Well,
the
of
same
course, of
sense,
course,
though,
but-
don't other generations technically die with intelligence as well? Because there was
Sure, they take some
potentially
secrets with them.
there was potentially
Yeah.
a generation that knew how to make those pyramids in a day, and now we don't.
Or the
So
or the cataclysmic event that Rogan's talked about a lot recently, right? The one.
Which one is that? The Bronze Age collapse?
No, he talks about. I think that he mentions a few like scientists or documentaries that have been put out on this. So because the pyramids are actually, what do they say? They say the pyramids were built like 6,000 years ago, but
Okay.
there's something about how the water has eroded certain parts of the areas over there, that the pyramids actually seem to be much, much older. And the documentaries he mentions talk about a cataclysmic event that potentially happened that wiped out most of human civilization.
Flood?
No, I think more like meteors or something,
Okay,
or
okay.
comets. and they say it's happened multiple times throughout the Earth's existence, right? You talk about like the dinosaurs, and you talk about all these other ancient civilizations that all of a sudden, that they could have had a crazy technology that we just haven't found evidence of.
Yeah.
Maybe they were as advanced as we were, and they just got wiped off the fucking face of the planet by a fucking comet or something.
Yeah, and they're just like 50 foot worth of dirt and rock that between us and them. Yeah, dude. Like look at Atlantis. Everyone talks about Atlantis, and then there's like proof that the ocean came up over Africa. I think like Western Africa and Northern Africa, like so much more than it used to. And they're like, yeah, Atlantis might be here. I mean, there has to be some sort of civilization. And when they talk about how advanced they were, you have to wonder what they had that we'll just never know about.
Or the Mayans or the Aztecs or
Some of the shit that they achieved, it was insane. But I said you bring up a good point. Like people go to the grave with some like intelligence about certain stuff. Like even the old generation is like grandma knows how to cook, do something cooking that you're like, oh,
I like
yeah.
to think of like the Freemasons. Like, I mean, the Freemasons, the Masonic way, they all had special techniques to do things, and you're not seeing things built that way anymore because they were secrets. If you weren't a
Yeah.
Freemason, you didn't get into those secrets. So
Yeah. Roman concrete, Greek fire.
Yep.
All this stuff. Although I don't know if we solve Roman concrete. Can't.
I think we're
we
pretty
have.
good with concrete nowadays.
I think we're probably good enough. We just throw a bunch of rebar in it. But
there's a lot more science to it than that, I promise.
Oh, there's water. There's also water and time.
There's a lot more.
I know. I'm not a concrete guy, but I'd imagine since there's a lot of buildings still standing for a while, we're good on that. So okay, so you would actually tell people you wouldn't care about altering the future. There could be some sort of fate or
I think you got to do what your gut tells you.
prophecy.
Maybe you find out and you're like, I can't tell anybody this.
I wouldn't
right?
tell the government.
I guess if it
but they need to know everything, Tyler. If you know, they already know. So
that face recognition thing you were talking about freaks me out.
Dude, it's just an app. I feel like it's just an app, and like they're for this race.
Does your phone not like already recognize your face,
true.
Rich? So
yeah, it's probably watching every little. No, but I guess the fact that it's like they can track where you are based on your face, it's like who has access to that technology? I mean, I don't.
I mean, if the race puts up cameras, that makes sense.
Dude, your phone, if you go like your Apple iPhone, if you go through your photos and it groups all the people and the photos
based on their faces. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
not just technology these days.
But it's like I guess like could some weirdo just like set up a bunch of cameras at like poles and stuff, and they just like track.
Definitely.
Some, like creepy guy tracking women down and like knowing where they're at and their like schedule. I don't like that.
I mean that it's the world we live in now.
I don't like that, man.
And they call them the FBI. I'm just kidding.
They do. They do.
Just kidding.
They do.
Yeah.
Right. It's actually CIA. We're good FBI. We're good FBI. We're good.
Crazy. All right. Well, I think we've covered a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah. Did we figure out how we're wrapping these things up? We got to do like a guest. I like the rapid fire with guests.
We need a song.
It's just the three of us.
We need a song or a jingle.
We do need one. We got to look it up. Is there this is actually, I want people to hear this.
Dude, what if we,
we just have
each have a verse. What if we did cause we talk about like health and wellness and accountability. Like what if we just had one goal for the next week? I know we're not going to do these necessarily chronologically, but maybe it's just more for like us, like before the next podcast or like my goal for the next, even if it's something simple, like,
we should.
Something like that.
We should like state goals for like 30, 60, 90 or something like that.
Yeah.
I just love the casual feel. We still got to talk about who the greatest athlete is of all time, who the greatest wide receiver is of all time.
Dude, I've already got a mental list. I'm literally going to, because I can't fall asleep for shit these days. I don't know. I just don't. So I'll be upstairs. I'm a open up a notes section and do like things we talked about for potential episode ideas, and I'll ship it your way.
Yeah, I would say do a shared Google Doc somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got to be. By the way, it's got to be like an athlete that does at least two sports. By the way,
maybe we just wait until that episode to talk about it. You just keep bringing it up. Yeah.
No. While you're doing your like thinking though,
he's like, "Well, who are you thinking? Like Bo Jackson?"
I'm not making my list.
Don't be like Muhammad Ali.
No. I'm not making my list of athletes. I'm making a list of episodes, like a list of topics that we want to turn into episodes, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guest ideas. Yeah. I feel like people are gonna not want to listen to us after a while. They're gonna want to start hearing.
We're definitely gonna need guests.
I don't want to listen to myself. I think I said this last episode too. I don't
like
want
to
to
think
listen to myself.
I like to think we're entertaining. Yeah, I think yeah, we need to get people on. Like Shawnee would be a good one
He wants it. He wants to. I was talking to
because
him.
he's hilarious. Yeah, get him on. Get whoever on, honestly. Let's get Fly on here, man.
Yeah,
Let's
okay.
get Fly on here. I'll ask him about Jon Snow.
Yeah, okay. All
Dude,
right.
one time he goes on a rant about Jon Snow. And like I saw Seth twice I did this. And I set him off on this rant right before I was leaving. I was
The
like,
worst
hey,
human being ever.
because
Worst human
Seth
being
has to
ever.
live with it. Yeah, I was like, hey, yeah, look, I got to run, but next time I see you, let's talk about Jon Snow and how he's like the best character in Game of Thrones. And I guess your dad hated Jon Snow, and he would go on a 45-minute rant when I'd be gone. Seth would say,
We did want to do a Game of Thrones episode, so because
We
you
have to
do
were
that.
upset about how the
I'm
show
game.
ended.
Yeah, I'm down to do a Game of Thrones episode.
Seth, are you upset about how it ended?
Yes, absolutely.
Everyone is. So
I mean, at the end of the day, they should have ended. First
There's
of all,
some idiots that aren't. man.
problem was is that they got ahead of the books, and so that's not their fault because the guy who wrote the books gave up writing books because he got the prequels going and all this other
Okay.
bullshit side
It's not their
angles.
fault, but they are at fault for writing such.
I mean,
bad
yeah.
shit.
I mean, but the problem is they were getting off on 5 seasons of good literature and then no longer had the good literature to go off, so they got exposed as bad writers. Is what
Oh,
happened.
Seth, you know what the problem is, Seth?
let's
Oh, go
save
ahead,
this for the
sorry.
Game of Thrones episode, and
Yeah, we
I'm going to do
gotta-
my research, and I'm
just
going to come
cut that.
with the counterpoint
I'm
because I didn't mind the last episode that bad. I want to know.
All right.
I want to
On that
know
note-
how you
on
Whoa,
that
guys would
note-
wish
what?
to-
Jesus
know-
Christ. On that note, we need to end this.
Wait, hang on,
because-
hang on. 1 second though. 1 second.
I want you to come
you
with
know what
how
I-
you would have ended it differently, and then we can have an argument.
We'll
That's a
talk
good-
about that in the Game of
I
Thrones
get-
episode.
Coming
I
up.
will say this though. What
It's
I
a tease.
resent.
That's a
what I
that's a
resent.
tease.
It's a tease. What I resent the most is how after every episode they would tell you we had to arrive here, and so we did this.
I don't
and they
listen
would
to
make
that.
it sound
You
like
just
the
don't listen to
writing
that.
was like
Why would you listen to that?
because I was
Don't
a
listen to that.
fanatic.
Just
I was
watch it.
fanatical about it, and
Oh
these
my
two
God.
guys are telling me like they were such geniuses for writing absolute bullshit.
This
So if you
is-
Let's-
did, if
we'll
you
get
didn't
into
listen to
that.
that, if you didn't listen to that, you might have
Alright.
liked the show. How it ended.
Listen,
I
listen.
loved it.
Okay, save
Right,
it
right.
for the Game of Thrones episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Rich, you're just being a terrible host right now. You got to just hit them with the. We're gonna talk about this in the Game of Thrones
You're
episodes,
right.
and
You're
then
right. All right,
end
we're
it.
teasing it. We're teasing it. Athletes, Game of Thrones, a lot of shit
Guests.
along the way. Plus guests. Plus we have to do health, wealth, all that bullshit. Goals. What our goals are. All right. I think this is all right. We're gonna end it there. Oh, I mean,
We're the three roos.
We're the three roos. No, we all just go and hop off. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.